Two Latin sentences look almost the same, yet they tell opposite stories.
Galba suum fīlium vocat. Galba eius fīlium vocat.
The first means Galba calls his own son. The second means Galba calls somebody else's son. One small word makes the difference, and that word is today's demonstrative.
Is, ea, id.
By the end, that one word will never trip you again. First, the new words for this lesson begin with four nouns.
Agricultura.
Agriculture, the tilling of the field.
Gallia.
Gaul, the land.
Domicilium.
A dwelling place and abode, think domicile.
Gallus.
A Gaul, one of its people. Listen for this in our dialogue later. Four more nouns and adjectives.
Lacrima.
A tear, think lachrymose.
Femina.
A woman, a female.
Numerus.
A number, a numeral. And one adjective.
Maturus.
Ripe or mature. Grain that is ready to harvest is this word. This will fill the scene we read at the end. Now two little words and two verbs.
Quo.
Whither, meaning to what place.
Arat.
He, she, or it plows, think arable land.
Desiderat.
He longs for or misses something, and it takes the accusative, think desire.
An.
All but only the kind that opens the second half of a double question. Is he a Roman or a Gaul?
Estne Romanus and Gallus?
On to the grammar. A demonstrative is a word that points something out definitely. This, that, these, those. Sometimes it stands alone as a pronoun. Do you hear this? Sometimes it leans on a noun as an adjective. Do you hear these men? Latin uses demonstratives both ways, and the commonest one has three genders.
Is, ea, id.
Masculine, feminine, neuter. In the singular, it means this or that. In the plural, these or those. Here is the singular, declined on the base E. Watch how the base sometimes shifts to a letter I nominative, the three genders.
Is, ea, id.
Genitive, the same form for all three.
Eius.
Dative, again one form for all three.
Ei.
Accusative.
Eum. Eam. Id.
Ablative.
Eo, ea, eo.
Two pronunciation notes. The genitive for all three sounds like eius, and the base E quietly becomes I in a few forms, as you will see in the plural. Now the plural, nominative.
Ei, ea.
Genitive, and here the gender shows clearly.
Eōrum. Eārum. Eōrum.
Dative, one form for all three.
Eis.
Accusative.
Eos. Eas. Ea.
Ablative, the same as the dative.
Eis.
One note on spelling. The masculine nominative and the dative and ablative also appear with two letter E's, and those doubled forms are preferred, but the doubled I is pronounced as a single long letter I. Here is the second job this word does. Besides pointing out, this demonstrative is the regular Latin word for the personal pronoun he, she, it. So the nominatives mean he, she, it.
Is, ea, id.
The genitive means of him, of her, of it, that is his, her, its.
Eius.
And the plural is simply they and their.
Ei, ea.
Latin had no separate word for he or she, it just used this demonstrative. Now the heart of the lesson, and the trap. You already know the reflexive possessive that means his own, her own, when it points back to the subject. The danger is using it when the owner is someone else. Compare these.
Galba suum fīlium vocat.
Galba calls his own son. The owner is Galba himself.
Galba eius fīlium vocat.
Galba calls his son, meaning another man's son. Hear that contrast once more.
Galba suum fīlium vocat. Galba eius fīlium vocat.
Same Galba, two different sons decided by one word. The same split holds in the plural, where the genitive shows gender, with a feminine subject.
Iulia suos liberos vocat.
Julia calls her own children.
Iulia eius liberos vocat.
Julia calls her children, another woman's, with a plural subject. Watch the genitive plural.
Viri suos pueros laudant.
The men praise their own boys.
Viri eōrum pueros laudant.
The men praise their boys, somebody else's. So for an owner who is not the subject, the singular is this genitive, and the plural shows gender, one form for masculine, another for feminine. Now read with me from a conversation between Cornelius and Marcus. I give the Latin, you translate, then I reveal it.
Is vir est servu et eius domicilium est in Silvis Galliae.
That man is a slave, and his dwelling is in the forest of Gaul. Notice this genitive for his because the home belongs to the slave, not to the speaker. One more.
Quo puercum eo servo properat.
Whither is the boy hurrying with that slave? Now build the Latin yourself. He praises her.
Eam lauda.
Just the accusative feminine. No separate word for he needed. Next, with the own versus another trap. The Gaul praises his own arms.
Gallus sua arma laudat.
And now not his own. The Gaul praises his arms, meaning another's.
Gallus eius arma laudat.
Last, a plural owner. Those wretched slaves long for their own master.
Miseri servi dominum suum desiderant.
The reflexive, because the master is their own. Pull it together. The demonstrative is, here I does 3 jobs. As a demonstrative, it means this and that, these and those. As a personal pronoun, it means he, she, it, since Latin has no other word for them. And in the genitive, it expresses possession by someone other than the subject. His, her, its with the singular, their with the plural, choosing the masculine or feminine form to match the owner. Always ask, does the owner equal the subject? If yes, use the reflexive. If no, reach for this word. Next, we meet the relative pronoun. To practice what you just learned, this course has free exercises and AI graded feedback on ludium.ai. The link is in the description.